Excellent. We are just ramping up a few things and then we'll dive right in. So it'll be just a minute. When you get a chance, be over here. And then I can start. You might want to be close. Can you grab a chair? Mm-hmm. Thank you. All right. Hello. This is Shift D. Oh, hi, Cornwood. Nice to see you. We are having a lovely campfire chat today. It's been so long since we've had an update stream like this. I thought it was well overdue. And so, yeah, we all thought it was well overdue. Just been crunchy at a whole bunch of things and busy, so it kind of slips our mind from time to time. And I look outside and it's snowing, and I look outside again and like there's sun everywhere, so I should probably go touch grass more often. But anyway, we are here today to go over ViRo Playspace and the happenings, plus to answer some wonderful questions that have been in both Steam and here in Discord. And so I am very excited to get going. Now, I have with me Dev Gal.
Hello.
She handles all things community and is also known to run a Kidcast stream with Vex Ruby when I'm not available, or even when I am. You do such a good job.
A spank-ass stream.
Yeah. We also have the wonderful coder of all things ViRo, who none of this would be possible without. And so, yeah. Oh, Cornwood sends oops.
Huh? Booped!
Yep, I just booped her name, so that's all good.
Return boop.
And the amazing, the incredible Reverie, Goddess Reverie, is here as well.
Hello, everyone.
Excellent. So, let's see, when was the last time we did one of these? It's embarrassing, but I think this might be the first one this year.
Oh, definitely.
Easily, yeah. So, to dive right in, I'm going to start with questions on Thursday, May 30th for the Dev Campfire. First question is, do you have plans to update older dreams in graphics and gameplay? And I am very happy to say we are currently making it our focus to give all dreams a refresh. Our first dreams will be experiencing complete graphical storyline and gameplay reworks. Essentially, we've done a lot of work over the years on this, and with that, our tech has improved, our technique has improved, and my skill level has gone up since our first tries. So yeah, the older dreams are getting new ones. They will be receiving some updates that we know the community will love. We've been listening to a lot of feedback and such, so this is all based on that player and community feedback. We're excited to show you, and we're about to announce some things on that line, so you'll definitely want to check in on that. But like you've probably seen like Campfire. That was something we captured back in 2016 before we even decided to do any of this, when we first got our motion capture equipment. And we had no idea that a few years later we would apply it to something. But we had, yeah, we didn't have a lot of the ideas that we have now way back then. That's 8 years. I can't believe it's been that long.
Wow.
Yeah. But we see the newer content like from Dragon or Daya and Emmy, and there's a lot more interactivity, a lot more structure, and the quality level is just above and beyond. And it was around the time of the Ella Dream that came out that I had a huge shift, a pivot from trying to mimic real world events to unreal events, things that can be beyond reality. Because we're in a virtual space, we have virtual avatars. Why bind ourselves? Now, that's not to say we're going to exclude things that are more based in reality, but it was nice to expand the horizon some. So that was around that time. And so I want to make sure when we go back and revisit things that it's true to the original, but has a lot more context, it has a lot more sensation and connection. And that is the big deal here, is that we want to make sure that you connect and you feel on both a physical and an emotional level the experience overall. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
The second question we had was, will you offer DLC bundles? And yeah, actually, we've been looking through all the reviews of Playspace, and we've been creating a new pricing structure and bundles based on that feedback that we've been receiving. So we acknowledge that the freemium model needs to be changed, and we will be doing that in a way that is fair for existing players as well as newcomers to Playspace. But essentially, yeah, one of the biggest problems with you download a thing for free and then there's the experiences on top of that is it almost sets an expectation that there's more that you can do with the free thing, and that's something that's actually kind of difficult to bridge in this case, mainly because there's so much work and effort and team and all this stuff that goes into every single one of these experiences, and so um, it's difficult to segment certain things out. When we first designed this app, it was actually before it was even on Steam, and so there's been a couple of iterations moving forward on how we structure and package things just to make things more simple and in tune. For people who were there at the very, very beginning, there was a token system. And I'll go into that a little bit later when we talk about VR streams, but it was originally there for lewdtubers in general, and that was some tech we had to set aside, so we pulled back from that and went more for the Steam model. And so, yeah, we'll be making some adjustments there. The third question is, what are your plans with Vex Ruby Stream implementation with Playspace? Well, that was basically what I was just getting into. So,
and she's always kind of been like testing ground for new Playspace features.
Oh yeah,
she's always been the guinea pig.
Vex at her core is where we go to develop new technology for all things, and so quite specifically, one of our biggest passions at the studio is to provide a live VR stream experience, but not just for Vex, but for all streamers. We are currently working on a brand new Novellus Dea Dream, and we'll be working on the VR stream implementation stuff right after that, because we want to make sure we focus on the Dream that's in production. It's been quite some time since we've released a new one. But essentially, yeah, that was the original reason why we had a token system, was so you could interact with the VR stream from any lewdtuber and do various things, and it made a lot more sense to have a token system at that time. And so we'll be looking at how to evolve and bring that to all lewdtubers, so you can watch Vex and others in the future in 3D. You can actually see her crawl up and interact with your adult toys and stuff. It's really cool. We've done some prototypes. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. But for people without VR, this leads to my next question. Do you have any non-VR plans? And the reality of ViRo Playspace, ViRo stands for virtual romance, but it's also, shortened for VR. And we do give this is a VR thing, and we do design things to be best with VR. But however, other than the private spaces, all experiences in ViRo Playspace can be experienced without a VR headset, and it's well optimized for devices like the Valve Steam Deck, for instance. Part of our dream overhaul we mentioned earlier is to better optimize all of our experiences for non-VR use, though we recommend and encourage all of our dreams to be played in VR. It's just
Cool.
as an extra
Yeah.
layer, you know. Dum 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 dum. Yeah, and Ellie here, Elizabeth Centauro. I remember you had some good plans for the future of the play space. Yes, and we will be going over some of those too. Let's see. What is the next question?
It looks like character customization.
Yes. So, are there plans for character customization? And I'll be tapping into this question because there's another one down below that kind of goes into this a bit. But we are currently working on PlaySpace in phases. So we plan to finish touching up and updating our existing dreams first and foremost. Our studio also has several dreams in production at the moment as well. Once we're finished improving the current game's sense and experience, we will be evaluating the best way to move forward with character customization. But ultimately, when it comes to like things like LewTube Studio and such, we've been focused on character supporting character formats because there's a number of them out there, like Ready Player Me and VRM models and stuff like that. People have established like pipelines on how they create characters, and so we want to support as many of those as we can, just to make it easy for people who have already made characters or plan to utilize those tools, because we could spend years making character creation tools, but there's so many out there right now that
It's kind of reinventing the wheel.
yeah, it's reinventing the wheel. It's in our best interest to support the tools that are out there more than anything. Let's see. Oh, and next question is, what will it take for the game to be out of early access? Uh, oh yeah. And to Ellie's point here is lots of different models have a lot of specific functions, so that can be a bit tricky. Yeah, it is very tricky. We've learned a lot from LewTube Studio and working with things outside of the internal Vex Ruby assets and things, and so yeah, it's been quite a ride for sure. But fortunately, there seems to be like this universal, everything really uses Unity on the back end for these things. So like even VRMs is the VRM editor is built from Unity. VR Chat, their tools, their SDK basically spits out a Unity asset bundle. So there has been some reprieve there. But yes, back to out of early access. Um, we're working on a roadmap to get out of early access as we speak. The plan on sharing our steps to the community. We want to make sure to create a game that the community and the studio is proud of, and so we are creating a key criteria for the project as a whole. This includes bringing existing dreams up to par, like we mentioned before, and refreshing the UX and UI experience, and making network features like private spaces accessible to everyone. Now, that sounds like an answer that's like far off in the distance, but this is our primary goal. This is what we are aiming for, is to have those things refreshed, to have that network experience, the private spaces available, not just to people who go through the high friction of a Patreon and then creating a room and invite. No, it's going to be easy, simple, and there. And so once we address these things, it'll all be good. Plus, you could probably see V Rose dancing here in the back. And to go into the UX and UI a little bit, I don't know what I was thinking when I decided to make things that were not square shaped for the interface, because it makes it really hard to put things in. But yeah, uh, it's little things like that that I'd really like to fix. So, fun times. Let's see, what's the next question here?
Dreams from different perspectives.
Dreams from. All right. So, are there going to be more dreams from different perspectives? And this is an interesting question. And here's how I think I understand this: is because we've heard the feedback on this, and would love to implement something like a voyeur mode in PlaySpace to allow you to view a scene from different perspectives. Um, and we'll be going into a little more on the expansion of dream experiences on a later question. But yeah, I think there's some real benefit from being somebody who is observing or participating from a different angle and things like that. And yeah, and I'll expand on this here in a bit, but the answer is yes. Yes, absolutely. Next, I see we have a couple of lovely people typing, so I'm very curious. Uh, Before moving on, I want to make sure I address any questions they have. And checking the rest of the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything. Maybe there can be like a set of changing camera angles. Yeah, I mean, that seems like the most straightforward one. We did have in pre-production a voyeur experience specifically where you're like in a closet hidden and you look through a crack, but you can't make a lot of noise, like otherwise you'll be discovered, things along those lines. But generally, that's a little more specific, and opening it up to work on all the dreams is um, probably the better way to go. So like camera angles and such makes a lot of sense. And uh, one of the difficult things to do, like if this was a three-person experience where there's one player and then there's two essentially motion captured NPCs or whatever, it would be nice to be able to embody one. The only issue with that is there's a lot of head movement, and that tends to make people motion sick in VR. So we have to be very mindful about how we move the camera. A key example of that for anybody who's tried Emmy's experience is you're kind of chained up, and every time we need to move the camera, she turns off the lights. So you can hear the sounds, you can hear the movement, but everything is dark until you come back in. And that's specifically designed to keep people from getting motion sick. Plus, it's just kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know? Let's see. So,
Very naughty of you.
yeah, it's very naughty of you. I love it. The next question on our list is, do you plan to work with more content creators? And yeah, absolutely. Absolutely love doing that. Our goal is to support content creators with tools needed and provide opportunities for them as well. We have already added to the list of content creators we are crafting new dreams with, and we'll be putting out new information in the near future about how to work with us. So if you know any content creators who would be interested in working with us, please invite them into our Discord. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure working with other content creators to make some of these dream experiences.
Yeah, every time has been like a very specific sort of joy.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
everyone is so different. It's so cool.
Let's see. And I see a few people typing here, so I'm just going to give them just a moment. But while I'm doing that, I am going to review the next question. Any more original dream? Yeah, that one's going to be really easy to answer. I've been extremely, this is from Ellie. I've been extremely lucky to do some things. It's always been fun to help test new things where I can. Yeah, so I mean, Ellie, you've been absolutely fantastic. You've been there to help us with lewdtube studio testing. You were there to try the first prototype of uh, Vex live VR streaming. It's been quite a ride. So you've seen some of the stuff way before it's gone uh, fully public. And I can't wait to get this stuff out to everybody because we build these things and then we're like, I want to show this off. All right, yeah, and Trixie Nova says even those of us who have gotten to work with you outside of the dreams, I think the team has been very pleasant and eager to work with. Oh, that's.
Aw, yay! That makes me happy.
And so, the very next question here found that my mouse is attached to ViRo. Uh,
I'm just like transfixed by
yeah, I should put some
dancing.
smoothing on that. It's a little. Oh yeah, here's a quite specific question from General Leo, 1994. Do you have any plans to compartmentalize the casual Vex dream, as in break it up in sections like the more modern dreams? It's pretty great to have the continuous experience that you can go over with bar in the menu. However, be cool to have loop before going to the next part of the dream. This is precisely one of the things I'm doing in the revisit of all the older experiences.
Yes.
And when I say a revisit on the older experience, that means most of them, including Vex, because there's a lot. Like Vex has evolved, and that dream needs to evolve with it. So yeah, to give some context, some of the later dreams have chapters. And so this allows you to loop a chapter or continue. But yeah, we have these points where you can stay in a section and then move on when you're ready to do so. And this is one of the key things that we want to bring to everything we do instead of just the things that came later. All right. Shadowplay needs some love for that as well. Yeah, no, Shadowplay is on my definite list. Of things that I really want to tackle. I'm going to give a little background story here on Shadowplay because it wasn't originally a shadow that we were playing with. Because at the beginning we had a mirror on the ceiling, where on the second section where she's got you basically pinned down, you could look up and you would see her with wings and the tail and everything and the horns, and it was really neat, except for it only worked on some VR headsets and gave absolute eye strain to others. So we removed the mirror and opted for a shadow instead. So that's why it's called Shadowplay. All right. So the next question is, any social aspect plans for the game? And yeah, definitely. We absolutely do have plans for social aspect Playspace, and we recognize that this is one of those features that was highly anticipated by our community. One of the things that is important for us to get right, though, with no exceptions, is the privacy of our users. We want our games to be safe, where adults can explore their sexuality without the worry of privacy. And part of our roadmap for exiting early access is to expand our networking features to be available to everyone. Once this is complete, we will start working on bringing the social aspect of Playspace to life. And quite specifically, we've rebooted networking stuff 3 or 4 times at this point.
Yeah.
A little background information is before Playspace launched, it had multiplayer people in a room being able to touch before we had any dreams whatsoever.
Yeah.
And we also had live VR with tipping before any dreams whatsoever. But what we found was it took very little for people to figure out who was connected to what and get a general idea of location. And that's when we're like, no, that's not okay. We stopped right there and started creating these dreams, because the original dream experiences was to fill in for when there wasn't much online activity. Something to do when there wasn't a live streamer or the community was a little light, depending on what hours of the day it is. And so we ended up filling that in more and more, and we kept revisiting networking. And it was becoming a bigger problem than we thought it would be. But that said, very recently, we got networking pretty much figured out. And what I mean by that is we have a current prototype of seeing Vex stream live in VR, and it has all of those privacy things that we wanted. So when we are in a live stream, you can actually go into her room, and she's performing like you would see on a video stream, but you've got the VIP seat right then and there. And we use like we Bex is really our test ground for everything. That's we're going to be taking that exact same network experience and putting it into private spaces to then once once we've got that nailed down, then we're going to look into expanding it even more. Now, this isn't public, so I'm just going to peek over the corner. But these are the private rooms. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving people access to those. Little sneaky peek there. And back to ViRo as we go. All right. Do you have plans? This is the next question. Do you have plans for content outside of Dreams in Playspace? Yeah, absolutely. One of our ultimate goals is to make content creation available to anyone who uses the Playspace platform. Think of Dreams as a lewd Pixar-like cinematic experience. It would be exciting to see experiences created by the community or for the community and from the community. There's so many ideas out there that we would love to bring to life. So additionally, we'd like to expand our like ASM VR content. We're working on a pipeline for making that a much faster process. And any feedback you have on our ASM VR experiences would be invaluable to us. So please check it out because it is quite amazing how immersive you can be with a VR headset and audio and touch and no visuals. Being able to take over the ears and having that eight directional, like you can turn your head and the audio is in real world space, not just fixed to wherever your head is looking. Yeah. What is VAM? I'm not entirely General Leo. Yeah. Would that be like VAM but easier to use? Are you familiar with VAM?
Not super. I know we've got DJ Dev, who's kind of our Vertimate expert, but he's not here right now.
Oh, is that what? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think is that. Am I understanding that correctly? That's Vertimate.
And Ellie is also typing.
Yeah.
The ASM VR is definitely top notch. I can recommend even if your eyes are sore, then just close your eyes and let your imagination do the heavy lifting. Yeah, and like it does the heavy lifting for us too because there's a lot less motion capture. No, that's actually when we create those ASM VR experiences, there is motion capture. We put trackers on the things that are happening in the room to know how much intensity to send to any adult toys that happen to be connected. Because we want the sound and the sensation of touch to be in perfect sync everywhere. And everything we make that a focus. So yeah, it's quite the thing. Yeah, as far as Vertimate goes, that is, I said if it's been a while since I've looked at Vertimate. That's just a bunch of animation tools and some level of VR tracking and things like that, if I recall. I might be getting my apps mixed because I'm terrible with names and labels. But yeah, it's one of our things for content creation is heavily leveraging the lewdtube Studio, quite specifically. It is designed to take basically any kind of input and give you a quality output because we have here at the studio a full range of motion capture capability from the lower end where it's just webcam or even leap motion to VR tracking tech like the Vive trackers and all of that stuff to even the mid range where you get into like Noidum, perception neuron, stuff like that, or the Mocopi, and ultimately the ultra high range, which is the OptiTrack system that Vex uses. So yeah, the goal here is to be able to enable anybody to create the content, and they can use whatever fits their style. And so if people want to have the more cinematic experience or the cinematic put in the full AAA motion capture, they can, but they don't necessarily have to. You can do a lot with just some Vive trackers. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, I recall it being somewhat of a pain to use on our side when we looked at it as well. One of the things we've been working on squarely this year is animation tools, but it's mostly internal for helping me with dream production. But I imagine a lot of that is what we learned from that is cross compatible with content creation tools as well. So, scrolling to the next question. Where'd you get inspiration for the lobby area? Vibes and design. Oh, well, that's happens to be what we're looking at right now. So I'm going to look at it a little bit. Uh, Essentially, when I was building this, I wanted a futuristic, fun approach that felt familiar to the adult space. You know, you go to some adult websites and such, and there's darker colors, especially in the uh, hentai and anime side of things. Um,
Like a club, even in real life.
yeah, I like a club, but to be quite bold or frank or blunt, I'm not sure which word to use here. There's a lot of Tron inspiration here as well. Uh, it's no secret that I'm a fan of the Tron aesthetic, and so everything has some glow, maybe too much. I do acknowledge there's a lot of noise here because this lobby was made quite some time ago, and I'm hoping to clean it up. But yeah, it's basically adult websites and Tron. I would say that sums it up pretty good. Lately, I've been doing a lot of CGA colors back in the old DOS days, where it's crossover with vaporwave but darker. So yeah, yep. Oh, yeah, man. I should add some smoke in here to just
Ooh.
give an extra bit of motion to all the light traveling. Uh, that comes from Trixie. Yes. All right. So next question. Will there be the possibility of more freedom within dreams? And that's a very fun question because, yes, we are currently producing a brand new dream where the player has more freedom to interact. And interestingly, we've created blueprints for multiplayer dreams. So, an example of that would be one person's in a swing and one is able to interact and walk around in any angle. It's pretty neat. So, that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, we actually have a prototype of that that we developed quite some time ago, but it relied on networking since it was multiplayer. Um, do you have plans to include more diverse sexual niches and kinks? That's the next question. And yeah, absolutely. Sexual exploration and kink experiences are some of the main pillars of our studio. So the dreams we are producing right now and some of the ones we're revamping will cover more kinks and sexual preferences. Um, we now have a question for you though, because this is something I'd really like to ask everybody. What would you as a community like to see more of in our dreams, in our dream experiences? The thing is, I have like my interests, and other team members have their like interests in the adult stuff. But it's that variety, that diversity, that really makes things rich.
Right, we're a small group of weirdos. We want to, pull the larger group of delightful pervs out there.
Definitely.
Because we can only cover so much with our specific niches, and the world is so much bigger than that.
Yeah. And so we definitely want to get more perspective. Oh, just a moment.
Exactly. A hand-holding simulator.
Oh, how lewd. Yeah, and Rove says that would be a bit of a list, and it makes of fun kinks and less common ones. Definitely, and it's one of the things that's kind of core to here is that that safety and that exploration comes with the no judgment. You know, that's super important to us. People like what they like. You know, it's
Yeah.
and there's some beauty in that. There's some like I've discovered things about myself that I didn't know were there since starting these projects, and so yeah, I'm very head padding. That's a good idea. Oh, I don't know if we could go that far. Yeah, and yeah, it'd be nice because right now when I see a lot of experiences out there in Steam and whatnot push like boundaries and things, they all tend to go the same direction. I've noticed that, and
How's
so
that?
and so like the forceful or resistive or anything like
Oh,
that,
okay.
and so there are a lot more things to do, and I think we are in a good position to explore those things. So, like for instance, one of our most popular dreams is the dragon. We didn't see that one coming, but well, we she was pretty loud about it, I guess. Sorry, bad joke.
Uh,
What about ankle flashes, Trixie?
ooh,
Because head patting and hand holding can you imagine flashing the ankle? Yeah. A lot of fantasy style elements in lewd Steam games. I think a good one would be more creature hentai types. Yeah, yeah. I am welcoming it all. Within certain limits. There are some things that we will absolutely not venture into for core.
consent.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we basically have a core DNA here at the studio of consent is sexy, and so it's one of the things that we take into account for everything. Let's see, dungeon space typic things, and yeah, I'd say one of the biggest attractions to ViRo would be the integration of haptics. So proper synchronization between haptics and what we see in the headset would be best. Also, good job on adjusting it. I remember when the haptics didn't respond properly. Also, maybe an option adjust how haptics behave, though it sounds like it would be a pain to code implement. On that point, so we're going to go into um, the question about haptics here in just a moment. But yeah, uh, there are some points on that for sure. Some more crossover dreams. Yeah,
Ooh.
for instance, that's definitely a good idea. Fantasy element, but comfort is the important thing. I think we should have a poll at some point of like what people, or at
Oh,
least a
I
place.
thought you meant the pole that Vex
Oh,
uses in her
the dancing
streams. I'm
pool.
like, okay.
Yeah. Speaking of
Yeah.
which, yeah, Vex just walked in.
Hello, hi guys.
And she was nodding like, yes, me too. I thought you were talking about my dance pool.
Maybe we can do a poll about my poll.
Yeah. Vexy, Vex, hey Vex.
Oh, hello.
All right. So I'm going to move on to the next question here.
Oh no, you're great, Leo. That was a great question.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, we're gonna go into that question here actually very very soon. Um, right now the question is, what can I do to run the game on lower end systems? Are there going to be any graphic options available in the future? Here's a fun fact. Our computers are old that we make ViRo stuff on.
On purpose.
On purpose. Yeah, we have better hardware, but our daily drivers are over 10 years old, and it's to specifically accommodate as many systems as possible. Part of that is making sure we maintain the minimum specification for VR capability. But that being said, we are going to be offering more game options to tailor the experience or to your needs in the future. But yeah, so we're running off of fourth gen Core i7s, and we're what on 13th or 14th gen right now. So there's been quite a few gens between here and there, uh, and we are using 900 series RTXs. Or not RTXs. No, that predate. No, GTX. I'm sorry. There is no ray tracing in these things.
Yoko says 10 years, so XP, right? Oh my god.
I miss Windows 7. But... All right. But yeah, part of that, though, going to the performance thing, is when the Steam Deck came out, we got one in the studio, and its specific purpose was to tailor the experience to a different kind of system. Steam Deck is very low power, but offers incredible visuals and experience. And so we were able to make it so you can use the gyro as head tracking, and you can the force feedback that you get from toys comes through the vibration in the Steam Deck itself, and a whole bunch of things. Uh, and so yeah, it runs great on Steam Deck. There is a control set up just for Steam Deck on that. Um, let's see. So the next question is going back to the toys. What toys are available for use in the game? And so I am incredibly excited to announce that we will soon be able to support over 300 toys using QDOT's interface application. It's a slightly different process than we used to connect to Playspace, but this will allow us more toy support than ever before and won't have to wait for us to push an update every time there's like new toys released and stuff. So I can actually know some of this to some degree. It's a little bit jumbled because it's in the middle of production, but instead of using a core piece of interface that runs automatically with Playspace that automatically connects to toys, we're just going to interface directly from here on forward, and this allows us to um, decouple the haptics. So every time there's an update to QDOT stuff to support new things, it'll just work in Playspace.
And like in the past, interface, when we first started, interface wasn't really a thing yet. It was just butt plug, and so QDOT actually helped us. Correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, kind of helped us design something that automatically ran within Playspace and worked with it. But as interface became more of the standard and more people were using it, it kind of caused a little bit of a traffic jam when both of those systems were in place.
Yeah, and even his resources are pretty limited. So he was basically doing two things. He was working on Unity support and interface support and all of these other things. And so it was in everybody's best interest to essentially refocus back into his main app, and we would just plug into that. That seems to make the most sense. So there will be an extra step for plugging things in, but it's a very familiar one, and we'll have good documentation on how to get that up and running for anybody. So that'll be coming. That's actually the very next update in PlaySpace is the new toy update.
And that's in the public beta, right?
I'm not certain. I'll have to double check. Oh yeah, I see a huge index. Yeah, please. We're gonna post a link of all the supported toys here in just a moment, but it's quite extensive. Yeah, there's the list. Buttplug.io. I still love that name. It's in Unity it was the butt plugin, so I loved it. It's called interface. Here's a backstory. It's called interface. So if people are running it in the background and it's in their task list and there's some kind of external like administrator or something who is auditing what's running, interface looks a lot more innocent than butt plug. So
a lot of things look a lot more innocent than butt plug.
Yeah, so that's the story there.
That's smart.
Yeah, would this system replace the current one? I haven't had any issues with the haptic systems we currently have. Quite easy to pair up at the moment. It's going to be an upgrade from the current one, and the reason is they're actually the same thing. It's just one has the ability to show a UI for the haptics and is more frequently updated than our haptic system on our end. So instead of supporting two of the same thing, one of which would be forever outdated and the other one constantly getting updates, we're just going to migrate over to the new one. But it really is simple. I'm making it sound harder than it is, but it really is nice and streamlined. All right, so we have some questions from the Discord that I'm going to go over. Oh, here's a big one. remind me, what is ViRo's end goal? It's like, remind me again what it is you guys do. We ask ourselves that every day. No. So here's the thing. Our goal is to enable people to explore and discover aspects of sexuality with themselves and others in a safe, non judgmental environment. With the freedom of an avatar, you're able to challenge what you believed to be normal, experience new or unfamiliar territory, and find yourself in the process. We not only have the means to embody an avatar, but also now with the advances in the technology, the sensations of sound, sight, and touch that can be taken to whole new levels. Through this, we are able to find new people and ideas that promote sexual positivity. This is a long answer, yes, but exactly the core aspect of all things ViRo. Uh, we are in a place in time right now where we can express ourselves with body language, with facial expressions, with our hands and everything, but not show our actual face. We're able to embody and to be whoever it is that we want to be. And with that comes that safety, and it comes that discovery and that exploration. And I find the safer you feel, the more expressive and the more inner honesty comes out. And Vex is a testament to that. When she first put on the suit and just started streaming, she just expressed herself way more than any of us here at the studio thought. She just unlocked.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
And
it's very much her.
That magic is, I think, in everybody.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
It was actually interesting when Vex started to try to make to act a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. She's just really bad at
it. Yeah. Which is, like, I think for us, it's part of the magic, because like when you're seeing Vex, you're seeing Vex. Like, she's not acting, she's not capable of that, so you just get kind of this unfiltered goober of a person, and it's fantastic.
And she'll be the first to tell you that she's really bad at acting. She's stepped out, otherwise she'd be right here to tell you the same thing. But yeah, and I've seen that with other lewdtubers as well. And so that transformation is truly magical. And so that is ViRo goal, is to enable people to discover, to explore, to have that safety, to really expand and that perception of what sexuality is. And yeah, I'm very passionate about that.
Dioko says, "I can't act my way out of a paper bag." Those are Vex's exact words. That is what she will say often on stream.
Yep. And this leads into the next question. What are you hoping to have completed within 5 years? This sounds a lot like a question I got from a teacher's, like, where do you see yourself?
Yeah,
or a job interview. Yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, well, in your position. As I talk to the boss. No, that didn't go well. Let's see. Really, where we see ourselves in 5 years, with our plans in motion, we are striving for a total studio sustainability and a bustling community of like-minded explorers and creators. The industry standard in creator tools and intimate space, that's something I'd like to be as well. And a vast educational network for creators who are interested in entering this space. We want to enable anybody to be here. So, and so that means like lewdtubing, even if you're not streaming, to be somebody who is able to put on that virtual suit and enjoy. But yeah, especially on the lewdtubing, to make it available to everybody with a very low bar of entry, because right now it's just kind of a mess. And I'll go more into that further down. But yeah, lewdtubing is a bit scrambled, and we're hoping to fix that. So the next question is, yeah, the bar is really high, or it's over here and some of it's over there and some of it is a moving target. It's unnecessarily complicated. So when we decided to go into lewd tubing, we decided to start from the ground up, building every piece of core tech uh, in one place instead of cobbling things together. So um, which would give us a better understanding of how all of it works. And so, yeah. The next question I have here is, how do you all feel about what progression has been made so far with everything ViRo related? Well, I'm extremely optimistic about the trajectory we are on now. We have a newly expanded team and a more pointed vision now more than ever, and the best tools in the industry, if I do say so myself. And so we have accomplished everything we have so far without having to answer to investors who will dictate the future of our studio. I'm very happy about that. We have the means to keep the lights on and work on everything internally, even with our tiny, tiny team. While we acknowledge that our progress has been a bit slow up until this point, we are more ready than we have ever been to skyrocket towards the future we all see for ViRo. And so, yeah, I'm like, the team has become more and more solid, and we have a lovely expansion. I'm trying to see here because I think I go into more detail on specifics there.
Yes.
Later. Yeah. I want to make sure that I go into more detail on that. So I'm just trying to keep track of the questions. I have them on this little iPad here, or not little, but I have it on this iPad here just so I don't forget something because I have a tendency of being a bit scrambled. Let's see. As Trixie says, as someone looking in, I think at least my time here in ViRo's vision is the strongest that it's been.
Oh, thank you. And agreed, Leo. We prefer slow and steady and sustainable, and not have somebody coming in and throwing a bunch of money at the problem, but creating more problems and kind of killing what makes us who we are.
Yeah, for sure, because this is for everyone. This is not for
shareholders.
Yeah, truly. And so I would be heartbroken specifically if somebody tried to basically take over this kind of community and dictate how things should be done and get everybody under a certain model because
it feels icky.
Yeah, and it's also it excludes people.
Yeah.
Like it'll highlight a few and then make them unreachable for that level unreachable for everyone. So I don't want that. If that makes any sense. Here's another question we got. Laugh out loud. When can I start sending gifts to you all and buy things for you all? Like the Throne site or Amazon with private address. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has some things I'd like to send you all. I'm guessing this came from Death.
I was going to say, that sounds like him. He's such a sweetheart.
This is tricky because we have team members all over the U.S. who contribute to what we do. Perhaps we can create a company-wide Throne account, and you can buy specific people on team gifts if you choose. What do you guys think of that idea? Do you think that would work out? It's one of those things that we've looked at it a couple times, but I've been pulled to other things faster than getting an answer. That would be nice. I'd love to send you folks a few fun things. Yeah, I think so. Vex is going to fill it with butt plugs and dildos. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and cookies. Don't forget the cookies. Maybe a burrito. Was it? Yeah. In that case, I assume you would do an address for your main HQ and manually mail it if it's team member. That is broad. And that could work, but I think its trickiest thing is the matter of the fact people living in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of the things that um, we try to keep in mind. There's a number of us here at the production studio. This is where we have the motion capture and stuff, but a number of our wonderful members are remote, and I don't want anybody to be excluded by
Yeah.
any means. So, and that kind of actually leads to the next question, whereas how did the whole team come together? Like, was it a fully fledged studio job from the start, or did things start as more individual products and things grew from over time? Is any of the team surprised to find themselves in this specific field now that they are here, or has it always felt like the perfect fit? That is a very fun question. It's a bit of both, honestly. Uh, like-minded individuals, and those minds happen to be in the gutter. So yeah, so I decided to go indie after spending about 10 years at a triple game studio. Uh, Me and my business partner, Coder Dev, have been working together for quite some time on various things, and in 2019, we decided to focus on sex positivity content. And we were fortunate to have the absolute best mocap system that captures intricate body movements and body language. So we had this passion to show that sexuality, I gotta be able to talk here, isn't just raunchy or negative. It can be silly, positive, dorky, and even funny. And so as time went along, people joined the team, including an amazing person in marketing who just joined. So very, very happy. Very happy.
Which is great because, like,
Yeah.
none of us are good at marketing. And so having her here feels like our savior.
Like anybody who's been in the ViRo side of things for a while, there's been asked a lot, what are your guys' biggest weakness? And the answer was always the same. It was marketing. Because I am so busy, heads down, working on production or making tools for production. And so, doing whatever I can to keep the studio together. And so, to have someone uh, dedicated on the the way the world sees outside in,
Yeah.
has been amazing, absolutely amazing. General Leo 1994 says, speaking of sex positivity, have you had any contact with Mad Mind Studios, the people behind Agony and Succubus? Crossover may be pretty cool or even a little edgy. I have not. No, we've actually um, heard very little from other studios. When a while ago we had Ella Moore core to the team where she was um, networking us with adult studios and adult companies, but it was more of the traditional adult businesses like XBiz and a few other things like that. And so we found that there wasn't much real world overlap. There's the adult gaming side and the adult lewdtubing side and stream. The overlap is more on the gamer and hentai than there is on the traditional adult content. And so, yeah, we haven't really heard from any other studios. Our primary focus has been on motion expression and feedback. So getting those senses to really work together instead of apart. But we find that other studios have different takes or different priorities on how to do content creation. So yeah, I'd be interested in talking to other studios. So let's see, number 7. Next question is, I forget you talked about the video work. Not sure what that is. Is going to be something like VR chat and have in the video. Okay, now I get it. From the original pitch of ViRo. Something like VR chat and have many locations in it. Anything in these locations going to be interactable with. And so to give some context, our first ViRo Playspace video talked about the um, the social aspect, going to different areas for different ideas of sexuality.
Oh,
So
like
there,
the different floors?
yeah, so there's
Yeah.
like the area for furry enthusiasts, and another area for this and that. So you can really find your group. And that was the core to that was all of the networking features. And so, given how many times we've approached the networking and character customization and things like that, we've had to pull back considerably on the network features until we could find the right solution. And so the two key things on that was how do we handle networking uh, and with privacy in mind, and how do we handle the way everybody presents themselves, the avatars, the look, the feel, and stuff like that. And so LewdTube Studio was a project to figure out how to handle the look, how to handle the movement, how to handle the interactivity. And the networking is, we are starting small. So with the private spaces. So yeah, we're starting small in private spaces, rooms, where the primary focus is on sound and touch, and essentially is expanding from there. And so it's not that it's gone, it's just we need to start from somewhere, and we're still working on that one. So let's see. The next question is, can we bring our own avatars somehow? Yeah, that is the ultimate goal, is to support avatar formats similar to what we do in LewdTube Studio. And so that, let's see. Um, General Leo says, also, sorry if I missed the bit on networking, but will it be peer-to-peer or server-based? It is in the terms of peer-to-peer, it's not exactly that. And so what I mean by that is we do have to maintain that privacy. So it does have a central server for relaying things. Okie dokie. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. What is the next question? Yes. Is there any plan for a group social area in VR, or is it going to just be private rooms? Yeah, we touched a bit on that, but we are starting with private rooms to get a firm understanding on what is needed for larger networking. So maintaining user privacy is our top priority. We're starting small with building blocks and going from there. So let's see. Is there, next question is there any plan for more gay male content? Yes. This is absolutely something we're going to do. Uh, I'd be very curious what gay male content in particular everyone would like to see, or anyone specifically, because it is a bit of a broad term when you really think about it. There's the first time experience, which we touched on that a bit, and that is going to get definitely overhauled because it needs a lot of work. And then there's just so many. It's just as diverse as anything. So I'd be very interested in knowing exactly what people would like to see. So we should post some methods for that for people to get some feedback. Let's see. The next question is, what has been your trickiest thing to bring to light and or to create concerning ViRo? So it's really finding a web designer who understands our very particular need for not safe for workspace, as well as networking privacy, as we discussed earlier in terms of the social spaces. We got a lot of the privacy stuff figured out. Um, but when it comes to anything outside of game development and networking, when it comes to the web development side of things, uh, we have a big gap there. We don't have anybody who's an expert in that. And so we rely heavily on off-the-shelf tools and brute forcing it, and I still don't do a very good job. But yeah, it's we do have pretty big ambitions for the community, and there is a web component to that. So yeah. Let's see. The next question is, was there ever a plan to start programs like Lewdtuber Studio, or did that develop from the love of the studio work? Well, it came from our utter shock that to become a LewdTuber, you have to go through a cobbled mess of applications, including Unity, which was not made with lewdtuber in mind. So when we developed the Vex Ruby tech and fine tuned it, there was a point where we were like, we should just make this available to everyone. Much like our plans for social features for adults, LewTube Studios specifically for LewTubers. We're not pushing other platforms beyond their terms of service like VRChat or whatever. LewTube Studio is for LewTubers. It is for them. Let's see. I think actually that was the last of the Discord questions. I know we had a new one, so I want to make sure we cover that. Although I can't change channels.
Let me see if I can.
Sure, sure. In the meantime, there's a post here. General Leo asked, also, with the upcoming of the multiplayer aspect, you have plans for a relaunch of sorts or marketing campaign to get more people in. I think that is one of the things that Reverie here has done an amazing job to make us more aware of how to approach things like that. And so we'll have more to talk about here pretty soon when we start working on the revamped dreams and things along those lines. But yeah, it's the goal is to bring more and more people in for sure. And Trixie is like, yeah, right now, even those of us on the lowest end of complexity are still having to learn a grab bag of unrelated apps that are not always user friendly. Here's the thing. When it came to Vex, I learned this early on. The less she has to think about how to express herself, the better that expression becomes. And so when we started with the face helmet, for instance, the face tracking, it was a kid's bike helmet that had Paw Patrol all over it. And there was a phone attached to it. And what we learned real quick is that friggin' hurts. She got a lump on her head. And so we ditched that real quick. And so we went with the more traditional thing that we'd seen where it's like a almost a paintball type helmet thing where you can attach things and had the phone off at a distance. And even that was no good because it torques your neck and it hurts. And if you're streaming for more than like 5 seconds, it really starts to become a problem. And so that's when I developed I call it the Vex helm, the virtual expression helm. I'm not very good with naming things.
Jay, I wish we could find that Paw Patrol helmet. I can't tell you how long I've been looking for it. Yeah. When we do, absolutely will, because it's as ridiculous as you'd imagine it to be.
But yeah, it's one of those things where the need for something was really pushing the invention on how to handle things. I remember one night it's like, what if the weight wasn't in front of you? What if it was on your head, like if you're holding a basket or something? And I'm like, wait, somebody else must have already created that because it's too simple an answer. No, would you believe it? And so we actually worked with Noidum, people who made the perception neuron. I designed Vex's helmet, and they are manufacturing it. And so I don't think they're doing that anymore, but we still do make them in house. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where the more freedom of motion and expression you give somebody, where they don't have to avoid doing certain things or they have to think through the pain, the more they become
Themselves.
yeah, themselves, really. And so we learned a lot from building Vex Tech that way.
And Yoko, it looks like you had asked a question before, but wasn't sure if it was answered. Do you mind repeating it?
I'm not sure if it's answered or not. Let's see. Yeah, I wish I still had the Paw Patrol thing. I'm kind of worried because we have so many iterations of the helmet. I'm kind of worried that one may have gotten thrown out since it was like an instant fail. We used it for only a tiny, tiny bit.
It had like aluminum rods sticking out of it to hold the phone in front, and those aluminum rods were covered with painter's tape because we had like the really like
Our mocap was a lot more touchy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that was, and so like anything reflective just borked it all up. Will there be any tools or guides to help make or import existing avatars into ViRo Studio?
100% yes. That is a big push that we're doing, is to have the resources for lewdtubers readily available at any time. Because I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that the easier we make this, the more not only the more accepted it becomes, but the more diverse and expressive and rich lewdtubing becomes. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
And then I think the question that came in before we started from General Leo was if there was any plan to update the interface for shadow play so we could skip right to the last scene as we can in the more modern dreams.
Oh yeah. We'll cover that in the
That's right.
updating of all things to include the chapters and a few other things. So yeah.
So yes.
Definitely. Yeah, it's. I mean, if we look at like Vex's tech now, she will just on a whim go onto a pole and swing around, and the tech is like, yeah, that's fine, unless she does a really weird pretzel thing, and I can't tell if the mocap's messing up or if she actually did a pretzel. So there have been times I've had to look and check. But yeah, it's one of the things that the more I see in like lewdtubers can do some amazing things. They're not bound by reality, and so like I've seen some amazing things on other streams, like even Reverie here, who has an amazing like this goddess feel, and everything is like flowy. I love the secondary motion and stuff, and that's not something that reality really does too well unless you have like a Hollywood budget, you know. And so, yeah, it captures me in a way that I didn't know possible. Like May the 4th.
Oh, that was so fun.
When you have a lewdtuber who puts on a sexy Darth Vader, and then suddenly, bam, there's backup dancer stormtroopers. Where else are you going to be able to do that and still have it lewd? I am excited. Yeah, there's like this giant. My cheeks are getting sore from all the smiles here. So, yeah, it's an incredible future ahead of us for all of us. And so, the better we make it for everyone, the better it will be overall. Let's see. Yeah, that was great to see. I was so happy because I got that in one night. I'm terrible about pushing things to the last minute, and so like every Star Wars themed thing we've done has always been made basically the night before. And some cheeky, not quite IP infringing cosplay dreams coming up. That's a good question.
Yeah, Steamboat Willie? No.
Yeah, no, I'm good. That's where I draw the line. And it's not because of the visuals or any of that stuff. It's because that's easy to animate by hand, but not so much in 3D. So I can't motion capture those noodle arms, you know? So yeah. And that generally, that's one of the things that the community might be really good at kind of skirting around, but having that same familiarity, that is definitely something that is very popular. Don't tempt Disney or Nintendo lawyers. Yeah, that's one I should probably take to heart.
Mention that. DevCon's got stories. Also, yeah, they didn't come after us for Vex's Gadget cosplay, yes, but if we get a cease and desist for that.
Oh yeah, Gadget is also Disney. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Star Wars, but yeah. And then we have Nintendo with Samus in her outfit.
Yeah.
You know.
And the Triforce Thursday thing.
Yeah.
Which we haven't used in a while.
Yep. More anthro furry stuff would be fun, but getting high quality models for it may be a challenge. The details help a lot. This is also possible for guy to guy content, maybe. Yeah. So when we made the doggy experience, I forgot what it was called specifically. We had this base model, and I wanted something that was a little more furry. I don't know how else to put it. So I spent a lot of time in making her um, be fluffy, and that you could put your hands in there, and that it moves when she moves and stuff. I wanted something more than just a regular model. So yeah, I fully agree that there's definitely a lot of room there to expand on. How many costumes does Vex have, and what do you think about having a poll for new costumes? I think she's at 48.
I'm surprised you know a number, because I sure as hell didn't.
I only know that number because I have to hook up every single one, and whenever there's a new one, it adds it to a list, and I see a
Okay.
number. So on the last number I remember was 48. Uh, let's see. How are we running on time? Oh wow, we're an hour 20. Uh, During YFest, we did a group collab with Reverie, and being there with Rev doing her thing with the moonlight perfectly framing her silhouette, it's kind of imagine Renaissance artists and like we're inspired by. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of the thing that would make for a god tier dream sequence, I think. Yeah, I fully agree, 100%. There is something magical about Goddess Referee's streams and content and stuff. There's just that extra layer of like intrigue and comfort, if I had to put it. And it's very sexy on top of all of that. So that's a very delicate balance, and I think she does it very, very, very well. We happen to gush about her quite a bit.
Will we be getting more Vex or Rose dreams?
The ones we have with them are awesome. Yeah, I imagine so. I mean, Vex is um, beyond Vex. She is one of our primary motion capture performers for these experiences. Other than a handful of them, like Doggy Style and stuff, she's been the motion behind the dream experiences, and so it really is all right, Vex. Today, instead of capturing for this, we're gonna just be yourself.
Yeah.
Get off the pole. I'm not animating that. You know? A good finale sort of thing for SG1 and Atlantis. Pity about the universe. Sorry, off topic. Nerdy things is so on topic. I can't put it enough. State that enough. So yeah. I think honestly, I think that covers basically all of the questions. I will be posting this video to be accessible, so we can show people who couldn't make it how this went and all of that stuff. So yeah. Let's see, Vex has a Jar Jar from S. I don't know why. It reminds me of this thing I saw at a store. I was like at a checkout or something. Oh yeah, not Jar Jar. Jafar. Okay, yeah. See, that's very, very different. Yeah. No, I saw this sucker of Jar Jar. It was like a candy thing, and the sucker part was the tongue of Jar Jar.
Oh
I'm like,
God.
who's gonna French kiss this thing to get a? That's disturbing. Who approved this? I'm sure there are fans for sure. Maybe we should make that a dream. A galaxy Jar Jar away. There we are. Sorry. Yeah, the Jar Jar tongue push pop. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. No, it was
No, that was great. That was a beautiful typo.
as far as Stargate references. Oh wow, it's been a while. Like
I only saw the movie and I was like a kid, so I don't know anything about it, but I'd like to watch it.
that feels. I mean, it's more recognizable than something like Babylon 5. Yeah. But we have a couple of we have Star Trek references and stuff along those lines. So yeah, I'm always looking for
We
good
make
ways.
a lot of Futurama references around
A
here.
lot of Futurama.
That's like
Yeah.
daily.
And then Vex recently got her reboot outfit in
Yeah.
sequence. So yeah, I don't. So yeah, Vex could talk about Stargate, but I don't think Vex has watched Stargate, so she
It would be one of those dice roll things where it's like you get the buzzies and talk about a movie and she'll just make something up.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be very representative of the actual culture of Stargate.
But it would be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun. So yeah, uh, I think we're going to wrap it up here before this 10-plus-year-old computer runs out of storage for the recording. Yeah, it's not a new machine. But yeah, like this whole thing where we see me here in the background, this is actually running in Unity Editor while I'm recording all of this stuff on a very dated machine at this point. And so this is why we try to keep things optimized. If I can pull that off, then it'll run on almost a potato, essentially. So no, I don't have an external drive on this, mainly because of the access to the computers is very limited to maintain like temperature. I mean, we're even the Seattle region can get kind of hot in the summer, and so we have behind the wall of our desks. We call it the hobbit hole. There's actually some space there, and so our computers are on the other side of the wall. So we have very limited I/O access to the computers, but it keeps the room from getting overheated. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I see. Cornwood is typing. And Ellie. And after this, I think we'll probably cut it off so I can get back to work. Got way too many recordings of streams. Yeah, yeah. It is quite the archive. We have that on a Google Drive, like every single stream that got recorded, and we do a secondary backup of those because there's it's important to me. It's kind of a neat way to see like progress, and it's just part of everything that we do is in those streams. So yeah. Dang emojis messed up my joke. I don't have the smile. Okay, yeah, I don't. Don't trust Google Drive. Yeah, that's why there's a secondary physical backup of everything. Google Drive gives us the means to distribute the content to external, but we do have an internal backup of everything, which is quite sizable at this point. All right. So I want to thank everybody here for joining us. And I think LTT tried to make a server backup on Google Drive. I heard that didn't go so well. I haven't been fully aware of their backup schemes, but yeah. Actually, one of our servers is based off of one of their things, so it was supposed to be a drive letter. Ah, so the D drive. You don't have the D. Got it. But yeah, thank you all for coming, and I look forward to doing this again. We plan on doing this at the end of every month, so yeah, it's been a big pleasure, and thank you. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it. I'm trying to get my mouse back right now. It's connected to ViRo. Like, there we go. Now I can migrate over. Thank you for doing it. Being Loop Touch, please, everyone. See ya. Thank ya. Bye.